Good evening, children. I hope you have already checked your answers of the lesson number 2, that is genetics. I have sent all the assignment answers. Please tally the same, and we are going to start with our lesson number 3, and this will be transpiration. To understand transpiration, children, let us look at this very famous saying. It is called as a necessary evil. Evil means something that is very bad or very not good. Something that is not good is called as evil. So why is it that transpiration is called something which is a necessary thing and also a bad thing? Let us justify this statement. Look at this plant, children. All plants, we know, they continuously absorb water through their roots, and the same is conducted upwards through the stem and distributed to all parts through the leaves. And do you know that it's only around 2%, or roughly, let's say in a hypothetical number, suppose a plant is absorbing 100 liters in a day, then a very surprising number, 98 liters, it is losing outside to the atmosphere through transpiration. So how much it is utilizing for its own activities? Roughly 2%, that is around 2 liters. So why this unnecessarily taking up when only it had to give away? There's a very important fact that we are going to discuss, children, and you'll get answers to all your imaginary questions. Let us see why this is happening. Suppose if this transpiration comes to an end, you will be surprised to know that there will be no life, children. Reason? Because if this giving of water comes to a total end or a halt, then obviously the uptake will stop. And if the uptake is stopped, children, there will be no absorption, the plant will not carry on photosynthesis, no oxygen, and therefore no life. So we can understand that transpiration indirectly is supporting life, whether we directly acknowledge it or indirectly. What is it by definition? Loss of water in the form of water vapor from the leaves and other aerial parts of the plant. So that this water vapor we can't see, children, but we have to understand that these colorless water vapors, they're continuously given out. We have 2 experiments with us to understand today. Let us look at this. Before we introduce this experiment, let us see the requirements. We require very simple things. You can conduct this at home also. Take a well-watered potted plant and a polythene bag. All you need actually 2 polythene bags. One you need for your experimental setup, and then you need another just to keep it as a control. Then you take some rubber bands, tie it up at the mouth of the stem near the potted level there, and here just tie it up so that no exchange of gases take place. Then the most important thing that you need for this experiment is a sensitive paper, a chemical nature of this paper. You know about cobalt chloride, CoCl2, and the unique thing is this paper, when it is dry, is blue in color, and the moment it absorbs moisture, it changes to pink color. Alright, so let's see how it begins. First step, take a potted plant, right, and cover the plant with the transparent polythene bag, tying it in such a way that the mouth is at the base of the stem and it is well tight enough so that no moisture can come and go. Now what you see after 1 to 2 hours, by keeping it into bright sunlight, you will see that drops of water, they are condensing or soon appearing on the inner side of the bag, and this is after some time showing a saturation level, right? So very surprising how this is happening. Naturally, because this is tied up at this place, so the water is not coming from the surface over here. This water loss is only by the aerial parts, and this is what is transpiration. A similar control, if you're keeping over here, you will see no water drops condensing or no water droplets collecting, and naturally it is showing that the water collected is only and only due to the plant that shows transpiration. So one thing is clear with this experiment, that the demonstration of transpiration is confirmed by the green plant. Alright, we will test how to confirm whether this is water or not. We will test the droplets with dry cobalt chloride paper. As I just told you, the moment they absorb this colorless liquid, they turn pink, and this happens only in presence of water. So cobalt chloride is also a test for water, children. In chemistry, I'm sure if you have studied earlier, you will remember. Now this, we will just introduce types of transpiration. We'll talk about it much later also in detail. kinds of transpiration. Basically, we have three types: stomatal, cuticular, and lenticular. What are stomata, children? Stomata we know as minute pores that are present on the surface of the leaves and also on the young stems when the stem is green in color or perishable. So stomata are present on leaves and young stems. Alright, and most important thing about stomata is that they open during the daytime and close at night. Alright, so once again, stomata, the minute microscopic pores present on the dorsal and ventral surface of leaves and also on the young perishable stems which are green in color. Coming to cuticle. What is cuticle? This is a waxy layer which is present on the surface of leaves and stems. This is like a waxy shiny layer, right, due to which it appears to shine, and sometimes it's also reflecting the light. So this is also present on leaves and stem. And lenticular, the third type, is because of the name called as lenticels, and this is found on old wood or old woody stems, and these are permanent openings which remain open all the time, unlike stomata, because stomata here close at night and open at day, but lenticels, they will open all the time. So these are minute openings present on old stem, whereas here these were on young stem. So based on three structures, how stomata is helping in transpiration: the first type is stomatal, second is cuticular, and the third is lenticular. If I tell you about the order of water loss, maximum is through stomata, second number, that is stomatal transpiration, is maximum, lesser through the lenticels, and the least through the cuticle. Coming to another experiment, very interesting one and very important, but the aim of this experiment is same as the first one. What was the aim here, children? To show that transpiration takes place through a plant. Here also our aim is the same, to demonstrate transpiration in plants. We have three bell jars, A, B and C. If you see this bell jar, children, right? Now let us see for the apparatus we require. This is before the experiment. This is that experiment is set up, and after an experimental time of 1 hour, we leave the setup. They will show changes like this. So in your book, children, it has been drawn only in the compiled up steps like this, but for easy understanding I have made 6 diagrams to be more clear, and I'll be sending you the pictures of the pages so you will understand clearly. Let us see the requirements. 3 bell jars, A, B and C, and a small well-watered potted plant, preferably with broad leaves, so that a good amount of transpiration takes place. Then a polythene bag, this red colored, we'll take to close the base firmly of the stem here so that no evaporation. Remember, children, evaporation takes place from the non-living surface. So this is for no evaporation to take place, right? A bell jar and broad leaves that are preferably selected. Coming to 2, that is bell jar B. What do we require here? Similar requirements: completely closed, tied up polythene bag, the lower side of this stem, broad leaves. Extra things other than A would be a wooden stick for support, and support for what? A blue colored cobalt chloride paper. So blue means, what is it? It is dry. I already told you that the blue color means it is dry, like this. Setup C. What is missing here? The plant itself. The rest things would be as it is like B. You have a wooden stick, a blue, that is dry cobalt chloride paper, and a bell jar. Now with the 3 assemblies, let us see the differences. What is different from A and B? Here you have a wooden stick and COCl2 paper, dry paper. But here you don't have the stick and paper. Here you do not have the plant, but you have only the stick and paper. Now you leave it for 1 hour. All the 3 bell jars A, B and C for 1 hour. What do you see, children? The observation is very interesting. A, what you will see is that water vapor, it condenses on the inner side of the bell jar, right? B, what you see, because you had a COCl2 paper, yes, you will see the condensation of water droplets inside, but what you also see here is the blue colored paper changed to pink color, showing that the paper has absorbed moisture that was released by transpiration. Also, look at the concentration of water droplets. Here they are more and here they are less. Why are they more here? Because there's no paper to absorb the moisture, no CaCl2 paper. But here some of the water droplets are being absorbed to change the color, so you have less water vapor as compared to A. What about C? Because you do not have any plant over here, so what all you see is the same color of the cobalt chloride paper, which goes unchanged because there was no transpiration. So what does this experiment prove, children? Confirmed we are that yes, this water vapor that is collecting inside the bell jar is only and only coming through the aerial parts of the plant, that is the broad leaves, right? And that is how we are confirming transpiration. So I hope you've understood this. Change A to A, and then here, which is showing no change. Now coming to another important part for measurement of transpiration. Measurement of transpiration, we have two headings. One is by weighing method, the other is by potometer. Today we are only doing weighing method. Potometer we'll do next time, right? Because we'll have to explain the entire working. Weighing method is a very simple method to understand. Look at this. This is like a weighing balance. You have a potted plant with the soil surface fully covered to prevent evaporation. Then this is a small lightweight potted plant which you can easily use for the experiment. Now let us see what happens. This entire assembly of the potted plant you have to weigh before and after the transpiration. Let us see, you have used the plant. Let us begin. The weight before the transpiration noted time, let's say a small lightweight potted plant which you're placing here before and after a period of let's say 1 hour. Alright, so the soil surface is fully covered, and then the weight before the time, just to start, suppose it is 1 kilogram. This is just hypothetical, children, I just assumed. And after 1 hour again you weigh it over the balance. Now suppose it weighs 900 grams, suppose, right? This is not any fixed, I'm just imagining. So this loss in weight in a given time is due to transpiration. Alright, so this can be improved. The first thing is that yes, one thing is confirmed, that it is showing a loss in weight. Naturally water vapor is losing from the plant, so there will be a loss of weight. This can be improved by another method, that is an improvement in weighing method can be done like this. How? We have a glass bottle with a graduated side tube. Graduated means these lines of reading. Now what we do is fill that bottle entirely with water all through. It is filled up till here and up till here actually. This is the after experiment. Now what we see is that water level, see, plant will continue to lose water, alright, by transpiration, and as and when the roots, they are absorbing the water, naturally the level here starts falling down. So this loss of level, or let's say the water level that is falling down, this will demonstrate the loss in water through the transpiration by leaves. Now we have to calculate this volume of water lost. How? We can calculate it and compare it with the weight. Let us see. The volume of water lost can be compared with the loss in weight on a weighing balance, right? And this we can convert by converting cc into grams. That is 1 cc weighs 1 gram, and obviously we can calculate how much grams of water has the experiment lost. Another weighing experiment, right? Another method to show this experiment. So I told you, children, we started with measurement of transpiration. Two methods we have opted, weighing method and potometer. Potometer we are not talking today, we are only talking of weighing method. One was very simple, weighed before and weighed after the experimental time, and you see the loss. Second was an improvement over this by using a bottle with graduated side tubes, and then you saw how the volume can be converted into the loss of water, and in grams you have calculated. Another method, or which we can say like a modification of the previous, another weighing experiment is, look at this, children, a very typical setup. We will take a test tube, we'll take water and a leafy shoot. This is freshly uprooted leafy shoot, and we'll remove the roots. Note, children, very important precaution here, or keep in mind, is there should be no roots in this, right? We will pour some drops of oil. Why? To prevent loss of water by evaporation. Now what we do is, place the test tube in a small beaker. Suppose we have to take the weight of it. So because it is rounded, we have to place it into a beaker like this and weigh it with a test tube into a beaker, inside a beaker, let's say, inside a beaker. Now what we do is, suppose we have weight 1. We have the weight of the plant, the test tube, water, oil, and also the beaker. Now this test tube you will remove from this beaker and keep it on the test tube stand, right? In test tube stand for a few hours, let's say 2 to 3 hours. After some time, what you'll see that yes, though the roots are not there, right? But still you will see that the plant is losing water. And why you'll observe this? Because when you wait again by keeping into the same beaker, after 1 or 2 hours, when you're taking the weight again, you will find a difference in the weight. That is, the weight has decreased. Why it is decreasing? Due to loss of water, right, through transpiration. And this, because there are no roots to actively absorb water, the water loss would be much less. The weight would be less, but here it will be much less because you do not have the roots to absorb water. So these were the 3 methods to show measurement of transpiration in plants by weighing method. I hope you've understood, children. Till now, let us revise what all things we have done before we move further. I have done with you transpiration, definition, around how much transpiration takes place. Then experiment 1, I hope you've understood the types of transpiration. Experiment 2 with the same objective to demonstrate transpiration in plants. Measurement of transpiration, the first method we are doing today, and there are 3 ways of taking the measurement of transpiration by weighing method. The first was most simple. Then the second is here using a bottle with graduated side tube, and the third was a test tube, freshly uprooted twig, oil, and a weighing balance. Now today we have some facts about transpiration, some interesting facts you'll be not knowing maybe. The first thing is that a sunflower plant, if we assume a fully grown plant, it loses around half a liter of water per day by transpiration. You can understand 1 liter bottle, you know how much water it contains. So half means half a bottle. Maize plant loses 2 liters water per day. Large apple tree loses around 30 liters of water per day. And there's a very famous thing, and it is very true, that forests bring rain. Why? This is always asked and give reasoning question, children. Because transpiration increases moisture in the atmosphere and brings rain. Especially in hill stations, if you go for your summer vacations, etc., you always see that most of the hill stations, it rains anytime. And that's because basically of the greenery and the forests, which usually brings rain. Let's see 3 simple self-made questions. Is transpiration an excretory process? Do we consider it excretion? Absolutely no. Why? Because in excretion there is loss that the plant or the tree gets rid of unwanted and metabolic substances, right? Or that the substance or the living thing we are talking about is losing unwanted metabolic substances. But here it is not. It's only and only loss of water vapor. Which plant transpires the most? There's a plant called Areca palm. Scientifically we call it Chrysalidocarpus luteins, and this has one of the highest transpiration rates of any household plants, and it's especially effective at adding moisture to the indoor rooms or indoor air. So it's very effective to keep in our rooms and to keep our rooms cool by keeping an Areca palm, because this is very good in bringing out transpiration. This is one of the highest rate of transpiration levels. What will happen if transpiration completely stops? We have discussed in the beginning that uptake of water will be disturbed, resulting in wilting. Wilting means the leaves will droop down, and this may lead to the death of plants. So that's why I told you that yes, plants are very important for helping life to survive in any condition. So there we have our introduction to our 3rd chapter, children, transpiration. We have mostly done with experiments, right? And in the book, whatever text pages we have discussed, children, I have discussed the first page. Please read. I'll be sending you the entire file of the same, all the pages. This is what we have done. The second experiment, the weighing method, and this betterment over the same by another weighing method experiment. potometer we'll be starting next time when we're starting. Till then, keep revising, children, and we'll complete the topic potometer next time. So keep reading, children, and wait for the things that I am sending. Please compile it up at one place and read the textbook pages. Thank you.